Now we're going to hear from President Trump directly for the first time. So here we go.
Leaders met for roughly 3 hours. What happened? How did the meeting go? And what's next for Russia and Ukraine? Joining us now for his very first post-summit interview, the president of our great country. Sir, how are you?
Thank you very much.
We're glad you could be here.
Thank you.
So you said before the interview, you said, in 2 minutes, I will know. I watched very closely when you met him on the red carpet after both your planes landed. What vibe did you get in 2 minutes?
Well, you know, I always had a great relationship with President Putin, and we would have done great things together in terms of, you know, their land is incredible. The rare earth, the oil, gas, everything, it's incredible. It's the largest piece of land in the world as a nation by far. I think they have 11 time zones, if you can believe it. That's big stuff. But we would have done a lot of great things, but we had the Russia hoax, which stopped us from doing that. We would have done so great, but we had one of the great hoaxes. I mean, there were others like the election itself, as you know, as you covered better than anyone, but it was a rigged election and a horrible thing that took place in 2020. But we would have had a great relationship, but we did amazingly well considering, you know, he would look and see what happened. He would think we're crazy, you know, with the made up Russia hoax. So we had something very important, and we had a very good meeting today, but we'll see. I mean, it's, you know, you have to get a deal. We agreed on a lot of points. I want to see people stop dying in Ukraine, and that's what's happening. We're losing 5,000, 6,000, 7,000. They're Russians, mostly Russians, and they're Ukrainian soldiers. There's some
no answer from Trump, by the way.
Missile manufacturers and other things in some cities. I don't know if you know what's going on there, but there are a lot of people dying. And if we can end that war, it would be very good. And I was very happy to hear him say, if I was president, that war would have never happened.
Mr. President, that was my next question. He said at the joint press conference that and you have said this many, many times, and he confirmed for the world today, that if you were president, this wouldn't have happened. Did any of the specifics come up as to why he said that?
It did. It doesn't matter at this point, but that this war should never have happened. You know, a lot of wars should never have happened. There was stupid things go down and the wrong people are talking, but Biden was a terrible president in so many ways. He should have never let it happen. And it did. There are millions of people killed. I mean, it's the worst thing since I see everyone saying worst since World War II by far. There's nothing even close. But we had a very good meeting today, and I think a lot of points were negotiated on behalf of Ukraine and on behalf of, you know, the whole NATO situation, where we're dealing very well with a lot of foreign countries that are great, the European countries. Look, as far as I'm concerned, there's no deal until there's a deal, but we did make a lot of progress.
The meeting took place in this room.
Yeah.
This is where you met, right in this room.
Well, let me examine
it.
Oh, there it is.
That's where you were sitting.
That's it. I would say that's it. Yep.
So did you have alone time with him?
Yeah,
that sounds gay.
I did, actually, after our speeches. He made a very good speech, and I also finished it up. And afterwards, we spoke. Right after that, we spoke very sincerely. I think he wants to see it done.
Yeah. In your press conference, you talked about a lot of things that you agreed on, and maybe one big issue you don't agree on. Are you prepared to go public with that?
No, I'd rather not. I guess somebody's going to go public with it. They'll figure it out. But no, I don't want to do that. I want to see if we can get it done. You know, it's not a done deal at all. Mm-hmm. And Ukraine has to agree. I mean, you know, President Zelensky has to agree. But it's a terrible war where he's losing a lot, and both of them are. And hopefully it can get completed. That'll be a great achievement for them. Forget about me, for them. And you'll save 7,000 lives a week. That's a lot.
I spoke very briefly to Secretary of State Rubio, and he did say to me, he goes, there's a difference when you're in the same room together than versus, you know, talking to each other through the press.
Even through the phone? You know,
even through the phone.
It's not the same thing. When you're on a telephone, it's not the same thing either. This was, I mean, we were together almost 3 hours. and it was very extensive. And we agreed on a lot of points. I mean, a lot of points we're agreed on, but there's not that much. There's, one or two pretty significant items, but I think they can be reached. Now it's really up to President Zelensky to get it done. And I would also say the European nations, they have to get involved a little bit, but it's up to President Zelensky. I think we are, and if they'd like, I'll be at that next meeting. They're going to set up a meeting now between President Zelensky and President Putin. And myself, I guess, I didn't ask you about it. Not that I want to be there.
That's
but
going to be
sure
crazy.
And we have a pretty good chance of getting it done.
If they have a meeting with Trump, Zelensky, and Putin, that will be insane. And that has to be covered, and we will cover it right here. I think the big hangup is absolutely Zelensky giving up land to Putin. I think that's the big holdup, 1,000%. Again, that's just speculation on my part based on the fact that Trump, previously had said that some land was going to have to be given up. And then him saying that there's a few things, one thing that's kind of significant that we still haven't agreed to. I think that's absolutely what it is, in my humble opinion.
You're expending a lot of political capital. I've watched a lot of leaders. I've been doing this since 1987 when I started my radio career. It's a long time. And I've seen a lot of presidents come and go, a lot of world leaders come and go. And you're willing to expend political capital. All of the conflicts that I mentioned, including this one, this does not impact the United States as much as it does our allies in Europe.
It's true.
The Middle East, when we get involved in the Middle East, but you're doing it anyway. Now, why? Is it to save lives?
Well,
you want a safer world?
Yeah, number one, to save lives in all cases, because wars are wars. When you see what would have happened with Cambodia as an example. Now, I'm not involved, but I was involved in negotiating a trade deal, and I said, you guys are going to be fighting Thailand, Cambodia, so many different. Look at India. Take a look at India and Pakistan. They were shooting down airplanes already, and that would have been maybe nuclear. I would have said it was going to go nuclear, and I was able to get it done. Number one is lives, and number two is everything else. Wars are very bad, and if you can avoid them, and I seem to have an ability to end them, to get people together. I use the power of the United States. We have got the greatest economy now in the world. We have trillions, not billions, trillions of dollars or millions. We have trillions of dollars pouring into our coffers. I'm getting calls from people in government saying, where did I get the $29 billion from? I said, why don't you try the tariff shelf? And, we have, as an example, the European nations, made a great deal. They pay us literally trillions of dollars. Japan, so many. And you know what? They like us better. They respect us. They didn't respect us. They were paying us nothing. We were paying them. They weren't paying us. And I turned it around, and we're actually a very rich country now. I told you my favorite word is the word tariff. I actually made that a little bit later because I got criticized by the fake news. They said, what about religion? What about family?
Well, how many countries now have you made trade deals with, and how much is it incoming?
Many of them, and well, basically all of them, because I made along with some great people, as you know them very well. They're on your show, but I made, I would say 12 or 13 of.
By the way, for all the people saying that Sean Hannity is insufferable, I just want all of you to know that I agree completely. I can't stand Sean Hannity. I can't stand him. So I agree completely. Let's continue on.
The big ones. In other words, we made the big deals, and the rest we just assign a tariff to. And we do that by gut instinct. We do that by how we're doing generally, how the relationship, and we do it also by deficits. If we're losing a lot of money with a country, you got to pay us a tariff. We got to make it even. We want to balance it out. And I was generous to a lot. Some of them, we lose so much money that, frankly, you'll never make it up. And if there are people that have been great to us as a country, then I take it a little bit easy. But for years, we've been a laughingstock all over the world, the way they took advantage of us. Now, in my first term, I did it, but we got hit with COVID. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country in my first term. But at the end of it, we got hit with a thing called COVID. You may have heard of it. And it decimated the world.
You may have heard of it.
And we did a phenomenal job. Operation Warp Speed. A lot of people say it was one of the most incredible
Oh, Trump,
things
don't
they've
bring
ever
that
seen.
up.
Operation Warp
Don't
Speed.
bring
What
this.
we did.
What are
We
you
did a great
doing,
job.
Trump?
But this was a tremendous
Why are you
problem
bringing
for everybody. I
up?
mean, every country, even China, in all fairness, they got hit much later. People thought they avoided it. They got hit very hard. Everybody got hit. But we did a job like nobody's seen, and we came back, and we had a country that was respected again. And then we had this person get in there that had no right being president. He lost the election by a lot. His whole group was radical left, crazy people. And I'll tell you, our country was we were in a whole heap of trouble. And if that whole ideology didn't change, I think our country would have been dead. You know,
This is where you weave a little too far, Trump. When you're weaving a little too far, when you start bringing up Operation Warp Speed, you're weaving a little too far. We know you're the master of the weave. You are great at it. But when you bring Operation Warp Speed, it's like, let's get back on track.
Let me ask you this. The Trump doctrine. I have a definition of it. I've said it many times on TV and on radio. I can give you my version of it, or will you give us your version?
I'd rather have your version.
You want my version?
I love
I'll give you my version.
I've heard it before.
My version is...
I've heard it before. I love it. Go ahead.
No forever wars. However, some are interpreting that to mean isolationism. No. You've never been an isolationist. Your first term, you beat the hell out of the ISIS caliphate in record time.
Right.
You took out Soleimani on that tarmac. You beat Baghdadi and associates. You dropped the mother of all bombs on Afghanistan. Your second term, you did something I don't think anybody thought would happen, and that is somebody had the courage. They talked a lot about it for decades, taking out Iran's nuclear program. So you're not an isolationist, but you don't want forever wars either. Right. And every action you've taken militarily is consistent with that philosophy.
And I beat ISIS. We wiped out ISIS.
You beat the ISIS
and
caliphate.
General Kane, who's with us right now, he's right outside, actually. General Kane, we call him Raisin Kane. That's his nickname. That's a good name, actually.
What's my nickname? I don't even want to know.
He's a great guy, but General Kane was the one that did it. Beat ISIS. I was told it was going to take 5 years. He did it in 4 weeks.
Wow. Mr. President, I'm going to let you go, but a big day today. And you're going to fly back, I assume, to our nation's capital. And you probably have time to reflect on this day. The next step, you had said that you wanted a meeting as quickly as possible, maybe with you, President Zelensky, and President Putin.
Yeah.
I don't know if I trust the two of them in a room alone together. I think it would be better if you are there.
Well, they both want me there.
Did that come up?
Yeah, it did. I mean, they both want me there, and I'll be there. You got to see it out. And it is a big day. I think either way, it's a big day. But if we get this solved, it's a really big day because we're going to save a lot of lives.
Are you confident it can happen in a shorter time period?
Fairly short, yeah.
Fairly short. Yeah. So maybe in the next month?
I thought this would be the easiest of them all, and it was the most difficult. Again, you say 6 or 7. It's a lot.
Yeah, time frames are hard.
I've done it. I've saved a lot of lives.
No, it's not. If you get this one, that'll be 8. My count is 8. If you include the Abraham Accords, is more.
Abraham Accords.
By the way, you know, the impression of you is, I think a lot of people, because I think there's a false caricature of you, that Donald Trump would be the candidate, the leading candidate for the Nobel Peace Prize, might make some liberals' head explode, but you are involving yourself. You are expending political capital. And there, in many instances, is really not a lot of benefit for the United States, except that you keep doing your day job.
Well, it's interesting because somebody said, if I get this settled, I'll get the Nobel Peace Prize. I said, well, I'm not involved in it, but what about the other 6 wars or whatever it is? I mean, those were big. Those were wars. As an example, you go to Africa, the Congo against Rwanda. Yeah. 31 years, 8 million people dead, and I settled it. What about?
By the way, how do you settle India, Pakistan?
Well, because I deal with all of the countries for trade. And while I have them on the phone, if I'm dealing with them, or my people, Scott and Howard and all the people that are doing such a great job, and Marco Rubio has been fantastic, JD has been fantastic. We have a great group of people. So if there's a war going on, they say, you know, there's a war going on, and if we're doing trade with one or both of them, I say, we're not going to do a deal unless you make peace. You have no idea. I mean, I've settled wars that have gone on for 35 years. a couple of them. And at the Congo and Rwanda, that was 31 years, I think 8 million people dead with machetes, a lot of machete deaths. They walk in, the machetes are swinging all over the place. What a horrible situation. And we got it settled.
Mr. President, I know you spent more time. I never did an interview with somebody that said, I regret sitting here doing the interview. You could take it back if you want.
Well, you said 10 minutes and you've kept me a little bit longer than that.
Mr. President, it's a historic day. And I know that Americans, I think this transcends political ideology. I think most people understand that the death, the dying, the war, if it stops, that's a great thing for everybody. I wish you all the success in your mission. And thank you for taking the time to talk to us. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Sean.
We appreciate it.
All right, so there we go. I gotta say, I mean, I never expect a lot from a Sean Hannity Trump interview, and I say that because Sean Hannity, and this isn't like specific to Trump, Sean Hannity is going to kiss up to anyone with an R next to their name. That's Sean Hannity. It's how he's always been. But I think the circumstances around this one, there was not a good interview, all things considered. It was not a good interview because everyone was expecting to get some details, and Trump is just not in a talkative mood about this at all. He doesn't want to talk about it. He doesn't want to give any specifics. And I can't personally figure out what the play is here for Trump. I can't tell if he's happy or if he's frustrated overall. But it seems like he's focused. That's what it seems like to me. It seems like he's focused. He's not in the showman Trump mood at the moment. He's in the put my head down and get work done mode right now, is what it seems like. But that's just me basing it off of what I'm seeing right now. I don't chalk it up to him being, I know a few people have mentioned it, he looks exhausted, he's tired. And I mean, he clearly is, but Donald Trump in front of more cameras than, you could imagine, with the world watching, if he had something to give, he would be giving it. So that tells me that there's still a lot of work to be done. And clearly he did not want to be there for that interview, and he didn't want to do the interview. He didn't want to talk about the specifics of what happened. And he said as much during the interview. The summit was clearly not as conclusive as Trump wanted. I agree with that. I think that Russia has proven to be far more difficult than Trump anticipated. And I also think that Zelensky is basically a child as well. So you have Trump dealing with a child that the left and the mainstream media has completely embraced in Zelensky. And then you're dealing with the number 2 power in the world with Russia, who they're obviously hard to deal with. So it's a very interesting and delicate balancing act that Trump is having to work through right now. So, but yeah, we shall see. But that was the interview, and we're gonna wait and we'll check it out. We'll see what Trump does. I think a meeting between Zelensky and Putin and Trump will be absolutely just unbelievably fascinating. It will be amazing.